What is an advance directive? Who needs an advance directive? How do you get one? And once you have an advance directive, what do you do with it? In this video, I'm going to transform you from advanced directive clueless to advanced directive pro. And as a bonus, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to make an advance directive for yourself from home for free. Let's do this. I hope you're excited. I know I am, because advanced directives are a key part of making sure that your wishes get respected by your medical team. I'm all about making sure that what's most important to you is at the center of your medical plan. Let's jump in with the first question, which is, what exactly is an advance directive? Advance directive is a catch-all medical legal term for any document that outlines your medical treatment preferences. You may have heard of things like a healthcare power of attorney or a living will. Those are both types of advance directives. An advance directive is intended to be used when you cannot communicate your own wishes directly to the medical team in real time. An advance directive is designed to answer questions like, who do you want speaking on your behalf? And what type of treatment would you prefer? Let me show you what I mean and go back to those examples I just mentioned. The healthcare power of attorney. This is an advance directive that tells the medical team who you would want stepping in to make medical decisions for you if you couldn't make decisions for yourself. I'm showing you one here, and as you can see, it's pretty bare bones, right? It's your name, the person you're naming as your backup decision maker, your signature plus a witness signature, and boom, you're done. Then here's the living will. Again, fairly brief document. It makes a statement here about your wishes to prioritize comfort. If you got to a point where there was not a fix for what was happening to your body, and it was clear to your doctors that your time was very short. Now, I've ranted about living wills and their limited usefulness before, and I recommend you check out that video to know what I'm talking about, but I'm just using this as an example of a commonly known advance directive. Now, who exactly should have an advance directive? Huh. The snarky answer is everyone, but I'll do you a little better than that. Who I strongly recommend make an advance directive is anyone who has medical preferences that are different than the default medical treatment pathway. For example, in the States, there are laws that outline who your default medical decision maker would be if you could not make medical decisions for yourself. It tends to follow a hierarchy like spouse, adult children, parents, siblings, etc. So let's say you're married, but you would want your brother to be your backup medical decision maker. A healthcare power of attorney would be a helpful advance directive to make it clear that if there was ever a dispute between your spouse and your brother would have the final say in your medical decision making. On the other hand, let's say you're married and you would want your spouse to be your backup medical decision maker. In that case, that's the default anyways. You don't exactly need a healthcare power of attorney to, make it so, because the doctors are going to go to your spouse by default either way. Let's take another example. Let's look at the living will. Who would want this? Well, let's say that you're living with stage 4 cancer, and you know that when your time is getting short, you would want to focus on your comfort. Well, the default medical treatment for anyone in the hospital is to do everything possible to keep you alive as long as possible. So if you know that you would never want to be on a ventilator, hooked up to life support, or be put through CPR in your last moments, a living will would be a great advance directive to get in place to make it clear to the doctors what your preferences would be in this situation. I do recommend you have at least a healthcare power of attorney in place. I say that because even if you don't think you have strong preferences about your care right now, even if you don't have a serious illness right now, it's good practice to normalize conversations about your treatment preferences before there is a crisis, because I promise you, these conversations do not get easier in a crisis. So get your reps in now, because you can't exactly plan for when there's going to be a crisis. Now, how do you exactly make an advance directive? Where do they come from? Well, you can go about this in a few different ways, actually. If you're going to see an attorney to do your will and trust and the financial pieces, they'll do an advance directive with you, like a healthcare power of attorney or a living will. But you don't need an attorney to make a healthcare power of attorney or a living will. You can get those done in your doctor's office pretty quickly, actually. If you don't want to go through that whole process of going to your doctor's office, though, I'm going to show you a way to make an advance directive from home for free right now. It's this website right here called prepareforyourcare.org. Now, I want to be clear, I have no affiliation with this website, but I plug it all the time because it's easy to use and it's free. It generates an advance directive that covers who your backup medical decision maker would be, and the type of care you'd want. So it's sort of a all-in-one advanced directive for you. I'm going to walk you through how to make one of these right now to show you just how easy it is. So this is what you will see when you go to the front page of Prepare for Your Care. The big thing here is you're going to see these two giant buttons here that say Prepare for Your Care and Prepare for Their Care. These are great medical planning resources, but not where we are going right now. We're clicking right up here where it says Advanced Directive. And then I highly encourage you to create an account here to keep your work saved. But just for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to click Use as a Guest. But if it were you, I would do Create an Account or sign in if you started and you're coming back to finish your work. Now, this is intended for folks in the US, so they're going to ask you to choose your state here. So I'm going to pick mine, Illinois, and hit Go. And now you're going to get two options: fill out the advanced directive in Prepare versus choose a language and then download a PDF version. I find it easier just to do this online, which is what option one is. But if you are a pen and paper kind of person, then you would be clicking this button here. But you can still follow along even on the online version because it's going to look the same for you on paper. So I'm clicking this button here. It's going to give me the kind of the prep talk about how long this is and how long I should expect to take. So I'm just going to click next here. It's going to show me the three parts. I scrolled through this earlier. You may remember there's really three parts here: choosing your backup decision maker, making a few choices about your own healthcare preferences, and then getting all the signatures you need to make this legal. So going to part one here, this is where you choose your medical decision maker. Again, why I love this website so much is it walks you through exactly who can be your decision maker, who should be your decision maker, so both the legality of it and also just the practicality of it, who makes a good decision maker. So you can walk through this and decide who makes the most sense for you. Now it's going to talk about the typical decisions that a backup decision maker or healthcare power of attorney is often asked to make. And I think this is key, right? Because the only time that you're really going to need someone to step in on your behalf to make your decisions is if you're pretty sick, either temporarily or permanently. And the decisions that these people get asked to make are big ones like whether or not to intervene with CPR, use a ventilator, dialysis. Big stuff. So the point here being, make sure that you've got someone who you feel would represent your wishes about these situations and would be aggressive about voicing your wishes to the people that need to hear them, whether that's doctors, other family, friends. You want someone that's not afraid to kind of get in the mud, so to speak, if need be. So down here, we're going to hit next. Now, you can also talk about decisions that you don't want your medical decision maker to make. If nothing comes to mind, you don't need to put anything here, which is what I've indicated. You can also choose if you want them stepping in now or later. Practically speaking, you can make your own decisions anytime that you have the capacity to do so and want to do so. You don't really sign away your autonomy by clicking either box here, but it allows you to make a general preference of how involved you want your decision maker to be right now. And then here is where you actually name the person. So number one here is your decision maker's first name, their last name, how to contact them. This is huge. Make sure that you have their phone number accurate. Make sure that the phone number actually works. I would even bug them to make sure their voicemail is set up and they can receive voicemails because you never know. You also have the option to name a backup to your backup, decision maker number two. What I want to highlight here is in most situations, there's no such thing as two healthcare powers of attorney that act at the same time. People do that all the time, right? You can get another person's input, but from a legal point of view, if you can't make your own decisions, the doctors are going to go to number one, and only if number one cannot or will not be involved will they go to number two. But if ever there was a disagreement between your number one and number two, and they were both there and present, number one has the final say. So just to emphasize that point there. All right, moving on. If you want, you can write your rationale for your decisions. I think this is always great to write down why you chose someone. Anything that helps the doctors and your family and friends get in your mind and understand your thought process, honestly, I find more valuable than the choice itself. So if you want to talk about some of that stuff here, here's where to put that. You can also give some indication of how flexible you want your decisions to be, how much leeway you want to give your decision maker. Again, the box, you can check whatever box you want here. What's more important, honestly, is having this conversation with that person you're naming as your decision maker so you can be on the same page about what of your wishes are negotiable versus not negotiable. Because, it's hard to predict what the future is going to look like. So The conversation is more important than any box you check here, but you can check that if you want. All right, clipping along here, right? So that was all of part one, right? That was just the naming of the person. As I said before, fairly straightforward, but that's how you do it. And hopefully it's a little less scary having seen that now. Part two is a little bit more to it. And this honestly is not going to be for everyone. But if you have strong preferences about the actual type of medical care that you would want right now, part two is a great jumping off point to start conversations, not only internally with yourself, but with your backup decision maker and ideally with your main doctors involved in your care too. So it's going to walk you through a lot of things. I'm going to guess that some of these questions will resonate with you and some of them won't. Again, really the point of an advanced directive is to take what's helpful, leave what's not. Naming the backup decision maker is the biggest thing here. So you've already done the most important part. So congratulations on you, but we'll power through and at least you can see what this looks like so you know what you're getting into when you go to this website for yourself. So here's a statement of how you prefer to make your medical how you prefer to make medical decisions, right? Either on your own, with input, that type of thing. There's some boxes here to check what's most important to you. This may guide the types of interventions that your doctors propose or recommend against based on kind of what the best case scenario would look like and how that would interfere with the things that are most important to you. So that's why this is here. And then a general statement about what brings you joy and what you're looking forward to, again, to help guide medical conversations down the road. Hitting next. Now, some of the same tenor on this page, what matters most for your medical care. This is more on the spectrum of prioritizing things that are going to help you live as long as possible versus things that are going to help you be as comfortable as possible versus trying to strike a balance between the two. Again, if you have a strong preference either way, you can check which button you want here. As you can see, this is a clickable type of circle here, so you can choose where you fall on the slider of uh, length of life versus quality of life preferences right now. You're going to see the same question down here, and this is geared towards how your preferences would or would not change specifically at the end of your life. Again, same dynamic here. Living as long as possible is your priority. Being as comfortable as possible is your priority, or equal importance between the two. And again, you can put why you feel that way. If you've got thoughts here, I think they're helpful to jot down so we can understand how you came to that choice to guide you through the complexities of the choice at hand down the road, or rather guide your backup decision maker through those complexities. Moving on here. So more about quality of life here. This is more about things that you would want to avoid. So they ask which of these things would be very hard on your quality of life. I often ask folks I'm working with, what do you want to avoid? And you can check any of these things that you would really, really hope to avoid at the end of your life or not. It depends. So these are checkable. And click what's relevant to you and don't click what's not relevant to you. You can put your rationale there. You can also put some past experiences that you've had with death and dying, either friends or relatives that are guiding how you're thinking about things that you would want your backup decision maker or medical team to know. Then you can make a statement about where you would ideally be in your last days, at home, the hospital, or not sure. Again, click which one feels relevant to you right now. Here's where I'll emphasize you can always redo this down the road, right? Nothing in these directives is written in stone. If at any point this feels not reflective of your wishes in any way, shred it and do a new one and sign the new one, and you're good to go. But moving on here. Again, some more questions about balancing quality of life with medical care. So, again, this is sort of a similar question to before about doing things that prioritize length of life versus quality of life. This is more geared towards specific treatments. So, trying them all versus trying them for a little bit versus not trying things to try to extend your life. Again, the point is just to ask similar questions a variety of different ways to see what lands with you, what resonates with you in particular. Anyways, you check the one that's relevant to you and we move on. Here's a bit about organ donation. Again, whatever feels right to you. Same with autopsy, whatever you feel would bring your family, friends, decision maker closure at the end is really what this is about. And then any religious or spiritual wishes that you want your decision maker or medical team to know. We're on the home stretch here. This is your freestyle. Anything else that you want your medical team or medical decision maker to know that hasn't been covered so far, you put that here. And if you feel like you've covered it all, leave it blank, right? And then a statement about how you prefer to get medical information. Do you want every nitty-gritty detail, or would you prefer things passed through your medical decision maker? Again, this is a callback to when they asked if you want your medical decision maker heavily involved now or later when you can't be involved. Kind of a similar way of asking that question. Again, you can put your rationale here and move on. And that was it. Look at that, part 3. And this is where you're going to sign it and put your name, and any witnesses that you need are going to be down here. Again, based on what state you put, that's going to be what dictates how many witnesses you need and whether or not you need a notary. So Illinois does not require a notary for an events directive, but other states will. Same with the witnesses. You may require one witness or two witness. What's nice about this is it tells you exactly who can witness and who can't witness. If you're in the hospital, social worker or nurse, chaplain are all great choices. A doctor cannot witness it. Keep that in mind. But again, that gives you the lay of the land right there for your convenience. You hit next, and again, this is where the witness signatures go, and you are done. Easy, right? So now you've got your very own advance directive. Congratulations. But I want to emphasize an important point here, which is that you're not done yet. It is crucial that once you've completed an advance directive, you do 3 key things to make sure that your wishes will actually be followed when the time comes and this advance directive is relevant to your care. You can learn all about those 3 steps in this video here.